Welcome to English Amplify. Today we will explore the 80-20 principle by Richard Koch in a simple human way, like a gentle conversation that opens your heart and clears your mind. There are moments in life when you pause, not because someone told you to stop, but because something inside you becomes still. Imagine sitting with a warm cup of tea in your hands, feeling its gentle heat travel from your fingertips to your heart. In that quiet moment, the world outside seems far away, and life suddenly feels simple again. It is in these soft pauses that truth becomes clear. The 80-20 principle is one of those truths. Most people grow up believing that success is a result of doing more tasks, more effort, more hustle. We are taught to equate busyness with progress. But this principle shows us a different path. It tells us that only a few things in life are responsible for most of the results we cherish. Only a few actions truly shape who we become. When you look back over your memories, you will notice that your journey was never transformed by every event. It was shaped by a handful of important decisions, a handful of meaningful people, and a handful of key habits. The rest, though present, did not carry the same weight. This is why the 80-20 principle is not just a clever idea from a book, it is a reflection of how life itself works. We do not need to push through every door. We just need to walk through the right ones. When this realization enters the heart, something shifts. Life becomes less about chasing everything and more about choosing wisely. Less about running endlessly and more about moving intentionally. The moment we understand that not everything deserves our energy, we begin to breathe differently. We begin to live with clarity. The 80-20 principle is real because it is a mirror to reality. It shows us that greatness is not created by doing everything, but by doing the few things that truly matter. And once you see this, you cannot unsee it. Now that we understand this first truth, the next part becomes even clearer when we ask ourselves which actions truly hold weight and which ones are just distractions. Imagine this moment again. A quiet room, soft light, a warm cup of tea in your hands. And we are just talking, not about rules or formulas, but about life. Sometimes we think success is complicated. We think we must do more, work more, always push harder. And because of that belief, we get tired and we blame ourselves for not doing enough. But then this book gives us a soft truth, a gentle idea that almost feels like a secret. Only a few things truly shape our life. And when I first felt that truth, it was almost emotional, because suddenly, life didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt lighter, simpler, kinder. This principle is real because you can feel it in your own memories. Think about your past. There were just a few people who changed you deeply, just a few moments that shaped your path, just a few decisions that opened new doors. Not everything mattered, but some things mattered a lot. That is the heart of 80-20. It shows us that life is not equal in weight. Some actions have more soul, more impact, more power. And when we see that, truly see it, we stop fighting ourselves. We stop trying to win every battle. We stop trying to fix everything at once. Instead, we place our energy where it truly belongs, where our heart responds, where results come naturally, where growth feels honest and peaceful. And suddenly, life doesn't feel like a race anymore. It feels like clarity. It feels like alignment. It feels like calm strength. That is why the 80-20 principle is real. Because it's not just knowledge. It's a new way of seeing the world and yourself. Now that we have felt this emotionally, the next layer becomes clearer, because understanding the truth leads us to how we actually behave with this truth in our daily life. There comes a point in this journey where you look at life a little differently. Not because someone forced you to change, but because truth quietly shifted the way you see everything. When you start recognizing the vital few, something begins to dissolve inside you. The pressure to constantly do more, to constantly prove yourself, to constantly stay busy just to feel worthy. Suddenly, the idea of doing less doesn't feel like laziness anymore. It feels like maturity. It feels like choosing peace over chaos, intention over confusion, growth over exhaustion. Doing less is not stopping, it is refining. It is about placing your attention where it actually creates change. When you do fewer things, but you choose the right things, life responds differently. Results come faster. Energy feels lighter. Your mind becomes cleaner. You stop running in circles. You start moving in a direction, and every step begins to matter. Busyness is a mask that hides insecurity, but focus is an act of confidence, because only someone who knows what truly matters can afford to ignore everything else. Working hard focuses on hours. Working smart focuses on impact. There is a quiet strength in choosing direction over chaos. When you work smart, you are not lazy. You are strategic. You protect your energy. You value your time. You respect your own potential. And you stop feeding your pride with struggle. Instead, you feed your life with results. There is dignity in that. There is maturity in that. There is truth in that. The world does not give extra rewards just because you suffered. It gives rewards when you choose wisely. Your future will not be shaped by how many hours you spent trying. It will be shaped by the handful of actions that actually moved your life forward. So let go of the guilt of doing less. Let go of the belief that effort must always feel heavy. Begin to replace harder with better. Begin to replace more with meaningful. Begin to replace struggle with strategy. Because a life built on smart choices is not only more successful, it is more peaceful, it is more joyful, it is more human. Now that this shift in perspective is forming inside us, the next question naturally appears: how do we actually identify the few things that truly matter? As this understanding grows within you, there comes a moment where clarity becomes personal. You no longer want to simply believe the principle, you want to see it in your own life.
You want to discover, with honesty and courage, which few actions truly create the strongest impact for you. This is where the 80-20 principle becomes more than a concept. It becomes a mirror. Identifying your top 20% is not about looking outside for someone else's answers. It is about looking inside your own journey. It begins with gentle observation, not judgment. You sit with your past week, your recent days, your real experiences, and you look at everything you did, not with pressure, but with curiosity. And when you look carefully, you will notice a pattern. There are always a few moments that gave you real progress. There are a few conversations, a few tasks, a few efforts that carried more weight than all the rest. These are the actions that moved your life forward. Sometimes they look small from the outside. Maybe it was one phone call where truth was spoken. Maybe it was 1 hour of focused work that created more results than 5 hours of scattered effort. Maybe it was one simple habit, like planning your day, that made every other action smoother. The top 20% is rarely dramatic. It is rarely loud. It is quiet, but powerful. It is subtle, but significant. Finding these key actions requires honesty. It requires that you admit which things actually matter and which things only keep you busy. Most people avoid this reflection because it forces them to look at the truth, that their time has been spent in the wrong places. But when you face this truth, you gain your power back. You stop running without direction. You stop wasting your days on things that make you tired, but never fulfilled. And slowly you begin to see clearly. Life always rewards the few actions that hold the most meaning. Your top 20% is where your potential is waiting. Your growth begins when you choose to invest your energy there. Now that this shift in perspective is forming inside us, the next question naturally appears. Simplifying life becomes the path to make space for those actions. There comes a point in this journey where clarity begins to gently shape your choices. When you finally see which actions hold the most weight, your heart naturally leans toward them. And in that quiet shift, a new understanding begins to form. Success is not created by adding more into your life. It is created by removing what no longer deserves space. Focus and simplification are not shortcuts. They are acts of respect toward your time, your energy, and your purpose. Most people complicate their lives not because complexity is needed, but because they never stop to ask themselves what truly matters. We fill our days with tasks we don't need, habits we didn't choose consciously, responsibilities that don't belong to us, and ideas that don't hold meaning anymore. And without realizing it, we become prisoners of our own unnecessary complexity. We get tangled in details that don't change our life at all. The 80-20 principle teaches us that simplicity is not a sign of less intelligence. It is a sign of deeper understanding. When you simplify, you are not reducing life. You are refining it. You are clearing the fog so the path becomes visible. Focus is not about discipline alone. It is about alignment. It is choosing depth instead of distraction. And the moment you commit to protecting what really matters, something extraordinary happens. Life starts to feel lighter. Your work becomes more meaningful. Your progress feels smoother, almost effortless, because it is no longer diluted by what doesn't matter. The noise fades, the direction sharpens, and you begin to walk with intention instead of confusion.
In this new space, your energy stops leaking. Your mind stops racing. You stop trying to be everywhere at once. You are simply present, fully, honestly, with what matters most. Focus is a gift you give to your dreams. Simplification is a gift you give to your future self. It is a quiet declaration that you are no longer available for distractions disguised as duty. You are here to create something real, not to drown in endless activity. And when you choose focus, you unlock the quiet power of simplicity, the power that allows small actions to create profound transformation. Now that we have simplified the noise in life, the next part becomes even clearer, because this principle also reaches into how we feel happiness itself. There comes a tender realization in life that happiness is not a result of everything we do, but a result of a few deeply meaningful experiences that shape how we feel inside. When you look back at your life, you will not remember every ordinary moment. You will not remember every casual day. You will remember the handful of moments that held emotion, depth, connection, growth, and truth. Those are your vital few, even in happiness. The 80-20 principle is not only for business or productivity. It is quietly woven into the fabric of our emotional life as well. Only a few people make us feel understood. Only a few moments bring us real joy. Only a few habits strengthen our mental peace. Yet we spend so much of our time with the trivial many, scrolling aimlessly, trying to impress people who don't matter, worrying about details that do not change our life at all. And in that process, we forget what actually nourishes our heart. Happiness itself follows the 80-20 pattern. A small portion of your relationships give you most of the warmth you feel. A small set of activities bring you most of your joy. A handful of routines protect your mental peace. When you begin to see this, not only with your mind, but with your heart, you stop chasing everything. You begin to lean toward the few things that truly fill your soul. You become more selective, more gentle, more intentional with your time and energy. This is not selfishness. It is self-respect. You are allowed to protect your heart. You are allowed to walk away from people who drain your spirit. You are allowed to say no to situations that do not align with who you are becoming. The 80-20 principle gives you permission to simplify your emotional world, not because you don't care, but because you care deeply about what actually matters. Life becomes more beautiful not when you add more experiences, but when you deepen the meaningful ones. Joy grows in quality, not quantity. Peace grows in clarity, not noise. And when you choose the vital few in your emotional life, the few relationships, habits, and moments that truly nourish you, your life becomes more alive, more balanced, and more aligned with who you truly are. Thank you for listening to this deep and meaningful walk through the 80-20 principle. If this touched your heart, if this shifted your thinking even slightly, then support us and be part of our journey. Like this content, leave a comment, and subscribe to English Amplify. We will continue transforming powerful books into simple understanding so that you not only learn, but grow in your real life. English Amplify, where learning becomes transformation.